Kaiji arrives 30 minutes early to a pitch-black shipyard, thinking he would be sufficient. But there's no one in sight, and no sign of the ship Explorer. This is a great start to Chapter 3. Kaiji, looking around, thinks to himself that he is in the wrong place. He says he thinks he saw a ship on the other side and runs quickly in hopes that it's there. He gets to the other side out of breath, thinking the worst. Just then, he sees an object coming into port. It's a ship covered in darkness, no lights on. 3 men in black suits walk up behind Kaiji, startling him. One of the men asks, "Excuse me?" Kaiji answers, "Yes," still in shock. The black suits ask if he is Kaiji, and Kaiji confirms. Kaiji points at the ship, asking if this is the Explorer. The black suit agrees, saying, "Yes," which causes Kaiji to celebrate, jumping in the air. In excitement, Kaiji explains how he couldn't see very well and didn't know what to do, complaining that there weren't any lights and he didn't see any other participants, thinking he might not have made it on time. The black suit apologizes and bows to Kaiji, politely explaining the situation. A lot of people lose their way and start thinking wildly. He explains to Kaiji that it's an illegal ship. They don't want to attract any unwanted attention. They have over 100 participants and have them arrive at different times. That's why Kaiji didn't see anyone else. They get straight to business. They search Kaiji to make sure he doesn't have any listening devices or weapons, because snitches get stitches. Then the black suits take Kaiji's fingerprints. Afterward, they begin boarding the ship Explorer. The black suit says, "Come with us." Walking up the stairs, he turns and says, 11:45. Kaiji is our last passenger. The black suit and Kaiji walk aboard the ship, opening a door to a room full of people. These are the participants. They all look at Kaiji, glaring at him. Kaiji feels all their negative energy. Kaiji can relate. They're on this ship because they are all in massive debt, and that stress of not being able to pay weighs on them. At that time, the black suits enter the room, wheeling in a cart covered with a black sheet over it. Everyone wonders what this is all about. The man who escorted Kaiji onto the ship tells everyone he understands that they've been waiting a long time and that a few participants canceled on them. But the Explorer will be setting sail soon. But before that, he'd like them to take something with them. The man's voice carried an eerie calm as he continued his announcement. "We've decided to offer you all something. With this, you'll be able to gamble with sufficient funds. It goes without saying that everyone here is penniless, so we have taken measures for your convenience. We have prepared some funds. Please use this loan for later." With a simple gesture, he signaled to the man beside him. Without hesitation, the black sheet was pulled away, revealing a towering stack of money. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Their eyes, once filled with exhaustion and despair, now gleamed with something else, greed. Kaiji, like the others, couldn't look away. His heart pounded as the weight of the situation settled in. The man resumed his speech, his tone unwavering. "We have prepared sufficient funds. However, we cannot allow everyone to use them without restraint. There will be rules. A borrowing limit will be set. First, this money. The upper limit for borrowing is 10 million yen. The lower limit is 100,000 yen. In other words, every one of you is required to borrow at least 100,000. The weight of the words sank into the room. There was no choice in the matter. And now, the main point of this cruise. Your rescue. Those who are older, please raise your hands. Those above 30 will receive an automatic 5 million yen. The loan money carries a compound interest of 1.5% every 10 minutes. This cruise lasts 4 hours. If everything progresses as planned, your debt will increase by 40% by the end." Kaiji's eyes widened. 40%. He barely had time to process the absurdity of it before the man continued, unfazed. "Of course, it would be splendid if you could return it. It's a very reasonable interest rate." This was anything but reasonable. The man scanned the crowd. "If there are no questions, we will proceed." But then, "Wait, you!" A furious voice cut through the air. One of the participants shot up, his face twisted with anger. The man yells at the black suits about the 40% increase. He yells, "You're fucking taking advantage of us." The black suit calmly tells the participants how it's not ridiculous, that it's beneficial. But the participants aren't having it, screaming they'll kill the black suit, saying, "Where in the world have you ever heard of a 10-minute interest rate?" One man shouts, "You just want to make profits." The black suit explains that it's not ridiculous. They created this cruise to save the participants from their debts. He explains how they're not bad people. Ideally, they want everything to be returned. He tells the participants this is an unheard of chance. The man gives a sinister grin, saying that they'd calm down if they understood the 40% interest rate. That's the end of Chapter 3. Where have we heard this before? Indu said the same thing to Kaiji, convincing him to get on this ship. These people are obviously bad human beings, using the participants' debt to do free labor. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.